welcome back to Story Stash. I'm your host Duncan, and these are some of my stories I've written. Today I'm reading from my book Star Guardian, and this is Chapter 9. So let's get started. Chapter 9. Going After the Pirate. After clearing up from breakfast, we left my cabin and moved to the main bridge. We all took a seat, watching the tactical display. Jem and Kaluna looked at me. It seemed they elected me to lead. Ship, let us assume the probe returns with news that there are several pirate vessels in that star system ahead. What can we make use of to neutralize them without putting ourselves at risk? I asked. This vessel has several pulse energy weapons that have a long range. If we keep a distance, we could fire on a pirate vessel without getting too close. Of course, they might have similar weapons, said Ship. What about defensive shields? Our shields are probably similar to the shields on the pirate vessels, said Ship. Can we cloak this ship like you did with the probe? At present, the cloak is active, although the energy requirements allow either continuous shielding or cloaking, but not both. I think direct confrontation is too risky. What if several pirates attack us at once? They could overwhelm us, said Kaluna. I agree with Kaluna. I prefer not to be there. Ship, can your cloak probe deliver a payload or carry anything offensive? That way we can keep out of harm's way. Confirmed, said Ship. Jem watched me with a look of awe. The display of feelings made me feel uncomfortable. As a Tian, we never did that. What am I missing here? What do you have in mind? Kaluna asked. Well, I think I have an idea. Does Baglogi technology include nanobots? I asked. What do you mean by nanobots? They're microscopic robots. They can do simple tasks and also can replicate themselves, I said. Yes, we have those. We use them for medical and other delicate applications. Do you intend to use them on the pirate vessels? She responded. If we can, yes. Can you create a batch of self-replicating nanobots that latch onto and consume the outer hulls of the pirate vessels? They must distinguish the hull of a pirate vessel from ship's hull. We must have a way to deactivate them remotely. They must function in space, I said. That sounds nasty. Ship, can you handle that? Said Jem. Confirmed, replied Ship. And Ship, for delivery, I have in mind some kind of spray that delivers a minute quantity of nanobots in the desired direction. Density should be low, up to 100 nanobots per cubic unit of space, to avoid detection. The probe can creep up on the pirate vessels and spray nanobots towards them. We could even create clouds of nanobots in the flight path of a pirate vessel. It would be hard to detect and hard for the pirate vessel to change course in time to avoid it. I can outfit 2 probes with a delivery mechanism. The shielding on the pirate vessels might neutralize the nanobots, so delivery is best when their shields are down, said Ship. Thank you, Ship. Does anyone have something to add to the plan? What are we missing? I asked. We should be in the system, cloaked, away from the action, but close enough to control the nanobots, and make double sure we can turn them off safely, Kaluna said. Agreed. And Ship, you need to track the movement of these clouds of nanobots to avoid us flying into them, said Jem. Acknowledged, said Ship. Is there anything else? I asked. Hearing no responses, I thanked them, and we declared the meeting over. It amused me it went smoothly. So far, it was all positive, so I let it play out. Later, I returned to my cabin to rest. Since moving out into space and the chaos, my internal chronometer was a bit messed up. I was still used to the planetary cycles. So far, they didn't assign me duty hours like I had on the freighter. There was nothing for me to do. I could have walked around ship, learning more about the systems, I was a little bored and mostly tired, so I returned to my cabin. But it wasn't just my cabin any longer. Kaluna and Jem soon joined me. I wasn't about to decline their company, of course. It was a new and positive development in our relationship, and I was glad about it. We should get lots of rest. When we find the pirates, we'll need to be sharp, said Jem. She and Kaluna stripped out of their uniforms this time and got into bed. They left a space in the middle for me. Soon I was between them, and we found a comfortable position to sleep. Ship lowered the lights, and we slept. During the night, we must have moved around somewhat. Fortunately, I woke on the side of the bed. I got out and used the ensuite. Then I sat at the table and had a beverage. Jem interrupted soon after and called me to return to bed. After my drink, I got back into bed and tried to get more sleep. Later, Ship awakened me with an alert that the probe was now returning. We all got up and dressed, and Jem and Kaluna said they'd meet me in the main bridge. I took my time and made my way, arriving first. They arrived soon after. In order to retrieve the probe, Ship had brought us to a complete stop. Ship, please present your findings, said Jem. Ship then went through a detailed report of the intel gathered by the probe. The quality of the intel impressed me. It showed the pirates had a base on the surface of a moon orbiting the second planet in the system. There were 7 pirate vessels, either docked or in orbit around the moon, and one vessel appeared to be patrolling the system. The details on the ship types meant little, though. The intel didn't include a specific count of the crews aboard the pirate vessels, since that would have required an active scan. Active scans would likely have alerted the pirates to the probe's existence. We knew for certain the pirates were in the system ahead of us. We knew the number of vessels there. Soon after that, Ship engaged a hyperdrive to take us closer to the edge of the star system. Ship announced to everyone we were coming out of hyperdrive and decelerating to sublight speed. We arrived at the edge of the star system and hopefully out of direct line of sight from the pirate base. We continued in with our sublight engines as Ship deployed the 2 probes. One probe headed directly to the pirate base, as the other one searched out for any patrolling vessels. We sat together in the main bridge, following events on the tactical display. The probes were running full stealth, which meant that there was no live data from them. Any broadcast would alert the pirates, and that would ruin our plans. Ship was running in stealth mode, drifting around the star system to locate any pirate vessels on patrol. Weapons were ready, but only in case the nanobots didn't work. My calculations suggest that Probe 1 has reached the pirate base, announced Ship. We continued to study the tactical display. There was no sign of the patrolling pirate vessel. Lots of thoughts went through my head. What if the pirates were gone? Maybe they had left on another raid, or perhaps they'd discovered the earlier probe and hidden to ambush us. On the tactical display, a pirate vessel moved from the far rim of the star system, traveling towards the location of the pirate base. It was moving pretty fast. Perhaps it had detected something and was returning to base. Jem ordered the ship to move in a little closer so we might observe the events. There's something wrong with that pirate vessel, said Kaluna. It looks like it's on the wrong trajectory and speed to attain orbit around the moon. Soon after, the vessel crashed into the moon. No one could have survived that crash, I said. That must have been the nanobots doing, said Jem. It was hard to program them to just consume the hull. The bulkheads and much of the internal systems were of similar materials. I think their navigation and control systems were affected, I said. The pirate vessel had crashed away from the pirate base. Ship drifted slowly around the moon to reach a position to observe the base. As the pirate base came into view, we saw the extent of the damage. There were several vessels in a stationary orbit over the base. All appeared to be without power and had gaping holes in their hulls. Debris, including corpses, were floating near the vessels. "Ship, could you bring the intel from the initial probe and compare with what we're seeing now, please?" said Jem. We examined the previous images of the pirate vessels on the tactical display. The before and after comparison showed how devastating the nanobots were. On the moon's surface, the vessels docked at the base suffered the same fate as the orbiting ones. "Can we shut down the nanobots? They've completed their work. If we haven't compromised the base, there might be someone alive," said Kaluna. "Go ahead, Ship. Also, retrieve Probe 1 and scan the base for survivors. Signal Probe 2 to continue to search the rest of the system for additional vessels," said Jem. "Acknowledged. I've deactivated all the nanobots," said Ship. "Ship, can you please keep us at a safe distance from the clouds of nanobots, just in case," said Kaluna. "Acknowledged," said Ship. "Good thinking," I said. On the tactical display, we saw a view of the pirate base. It was mostly storage for their plunder and some various rooms. Active scans revealed no life signs. "That was the most devastating attack I have ever witnessed," said Jem. "I don't think they stood a chance." She looked at me. "I had hoped just to disable their vessels and leave them stranded, but alive. This went too far. Ship, how many beings did we kill?" I asked. "Sensor logs from the probe suggest about 200 beings." "It happened so fast. What happened?" I asked. "The nanobots multiplied exponentially after they attached to the hulls. Perhaps in the future we should tone them down a bit. Perhaps we can get some ideas from the log." "All logs are available for your examination," said Ship. "Ship, please take us out of this star system, leave a cloak satellite to monitor the system, and integrate it into our net," said Jem. "Confirmed." "And Ship, please add a copy of the logs of this into the package for the Ori Confederation. I'd like to show them we avenged their citizens," I said. I looked at Jem and she nodded. "Acknowledged," said Ship. Ship took us out of the system. We took a break after dealing with the pirates. We'd killed them all, and quickly. It was the first time I'd killed anyone. I needed time alone to process it, and I'm sure the others did. I wandered off and found some lounge area to sit and think. Using nanobots to attack the pirates was my idea. Perhaps there was a better way. Maybe we could have captured some of them for interrogation. I was no closer to knowing who tipped them off about the Apollo. Ship said we're to neutralize the pirates when possible. We certainly did that. I felt different about the pirates than I did about the Tians. The Tians I felt an icy contempt, mixed with vague plans for revenge. But the pirates had killed my friends, and that made me angry. I'd killed them too quickly, and they didn't get to understand why they died. I really wanted them to know why. Then a terrible thought came to me. What if the pirates had taken prisoners? I didn't really want to review the sensor logs. There was nothing I could do now. I was feeling many emotions: guilt, anger, regret, fear. It was my Tian upbringing that brought me back to a sense of calmness and logic. The intel from the probe had confirmed they were the pirates. We neutralized them, which was Baglogi policy. I did what I signed on for. We got justice for the death of the crew of the Apollo. If I hadn't, they'd kill again. Further innocents wouldn't get hurt by the pirates. I did it efficiently, with no damage or injury to us. Case closed. Well, at least in my Tian thinking. My thoughts turned to Kaluna and Jem. Ship, where are Kaluna and Jem, please? They're in your quarters. I stood and went to find them. When I arrived, they were sitting on the bed talking. May I join you? I figured it was less my quarters these days. Plus, I was unsure about interrupting them. Perhaps they were still processing the recent event. They both smiled at me. Please do, said Jem. We were just talking. Out in deep space, there are just 2 other beings I cared about. It amazed me to have a connection with someone, let alone 2 someones. And they were right here. I moved to the bed and gave them both a hug. I held on for a while, wanting them to know I cared for them. How are you? I asked them both. Kaluna answered, I am good. We avenged our former crewmate, and the pirates won't kill any more beings. As she said, Jem smiled at me. Is that where you're at? Oh yes, they earned what they got. My only regret is we took no prisoners to interrogate. I think there are more beings involved. Someone told them where the Apollonar was passing by this area of space, I said. Ship, please make a note of that in the logs. Add it to the package for the Ori Confederation, said Jem. Confirmed, said Ship. Jem looked at me. So, we completed a mission together. I promised that if you wanted to, you could resign after we dealt with the pirates. I would much rather you both stay. We make a good team. We could do a lot of good together. I thought for a minute. Kaluna was looking at me, perhaps to see my reaction. I think this mission isn't complete. We need to at least inform the Ori Confederation. Kaluna jumped in. Yes, I agree with Brian. My former crewmates all had families back home. They need to know what happened. I want my parents to know I am alive, too. Just another thought. We could use allies. When we inform the Ori Confederation, hopefully they'll appreciate our intervention with the pirates, I said. Oh, and Kaluna, do you know what is our status when we report in? I don't know. It's not like in the military. Our jobs are gone. Unless you want to sign up with another freighter, Kaluna said. I didn't want a job aboard another freighter, but I kept that to myself. Okay, it's just I don't want to be mistaken as an enemy or a deserter when we arrive. It may take some time to explain, I said. So, Kaluna, next destination is the Ori Confederation. Where should we head for? Asked Jem. I suggest we head for the nearest border with Ori Space, and we'll get directions after we explain our business. I think I can convince them of the veracity of our claims when the time comes, said Kaluna. Excellent. Ship, please head for Ori Space. Inform us before crossing their border. Confirmed. Estimated arrival at the border in 14 days, said Ship. Time for some rest, said Jem, smiling. We all stripped out of our uniforms and got into bed. The lights dimmed without our asking. We cuddled and exchanged a few kisses before falling asleep. Well, that concludes Chapter 9, and next episode we'll have Chapter 10, Travel to the Ori Confederation. Hope to see you then. Until then, goodbye.